So when you start something, when you said you're starting basically from zero and just going a little bit, it's affecting your entire system.
Yeah, and what's happening is that the cognition of what's actually happening, like you're starting to learn a set of skills. It starts to have this like reinforcement learning that's building confidence because you're starting to realize that like level 1 versus 0. And it's just like, we can use tennis as an analogy. If you really never picked up the racket and a friend just wanted to play and he wasn't that good, it was going to be very casual. The knowledge that you'll have after that just 2-hour session, that first day, God, I mean, comparison to 0, unbelievable. The next time, it's going to build upon it. Now, sometimes there's troughs and peaks. There'll be some frustration. You might throw the racket down because, my gosh, I couldn't hit anything that day. And I used to play tennis and come from a competitive tennis family, by the way. And tennis is just a great one. I loved it. And just did a lot of different sports. And so I also have understood the ups and downs and how everything works. But always in any particular field, the people that I saw that were the most joyful and the most successful in them, they were just consistently working on their craft. And even I watched this movie, I may have mentioned it last time, that Oppenheimer movie. Yeah. So I was really thinking about how is it possible? Because this invention, this bomb, it's so complicated. It's inconceivable. It's inconceivable for a person like me that doesn't have physics backgrounds and all of that scientific to even understand, like, how could it be? Like, I couldn't even produce a bomb that could even blow up, like, anything.
Yeah. Right.
Seriously, I don't know
its
if I
own
could
box or something.
Yeah, I don't know if I could really do anything at all.
Yeah.
And this could potentially destroy the entire world. I mean,
yeah.
And they even worried that in the movie they mentioned, and this is a true story, that they're thinking that it's possible that this will create a chain reaction within the atmosphere, and just the small bomb that was supposed to like blow up a city could destroy the entire world. And then they even speculated that because there's just atmosphere and the whole entire universe. Like,
I see.
I mean, and I could be wrong on some of the science on this, but they definitely had mentioned the world. And I was just like, just because of the atmosphere catching on fire from all these cascade of effects that would actually blow up the whole, and they're like, it's about 0.01% risk or 0.1%. It was really, really low. And the other guy was like, we really would need this to be 0. It was like really intense. Right. But the point is that how is it possible for them to create this? And so this is actually the secret to be able to be successful in anything. This is my understanding of it. It's my conception of it. And the level of success that I've been able to achieve in whatever I've been able to do is just a small version of what you could potentially do. So this is basically the formula. Is these scientists, they're like incredibly interested and enthusiastic and focused and obsessed with their subject.
So let's just break that down, because that was enthusiastic, obsessed,
right?
Energetic, would you say?
Yeah, energized for sure.
Which word did you say again?
And focused.
Focused.
Yeah.
Focused
determined.
And determined. Like just real principles there.
Yeah. If you have these, first of all, it's like it starts a lot of times with curiosity. You might be a kid and you're playing with some things in the garage, and for some reason you just like to take apart stuff and then put it back together, and all this trial and error, and it's fascinating to you. You're like in the so-called flow state, and time and space are gone, and mom knocks on the garage door 4 hours later and you're starving to death and you don't even care about hunger.
Right.
I mean, this is the hunger hack, by the way, guys.
Right.
You're really having trouble with this. Like, that becomes completely meaningless when you get into this zone that's just a superior goal that transcends regular bodily needs. You can actually get, so we'll go.
Yeah, that's a good subject.
We'll go into this. Yeah, because it's another solution to a lot of regular problems. So, you're the kind of guy, and then what happens is you start doing that a lot, and maybe you were able to take apart something really basic, and then you challenge yourself for something a little more complicated. And then you start thinking about, like, is there anything at my local school that's in that realm, And maybe it manifests as, getting into chemistry, where you're actually playing with chemicals and you're literally taking apart molecules and
Yeah.
putting them together.
Right.
That's a chemist.
Right.
Some chemists have been hired by multi-billion-dollar companies, sometimes for good and sometimes for bad, but to figure out a way to combine molecules together to create a new molecular structure that could be like, say, Teflon.
Right.
That's what it was.
Right.
And that was a $1 billion a year business. Obviously, it was, really bad for our health and the environment. So that part of it wasn't correct, but it's just if you really dive into the mind and the history of some of these guys, they're probably messing around when they're like 5, 6, 7-year old.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're building these things, right? So go back to the Oppenheimer thing. This is like the pinnacle of that. So if you look back in the history of these guys, just obsessed and fascinated and curious with the wonders of the universe and the structures, the physics, the chemistry of the whole thing. So they're just, they can't wait to figure out the next thing. And so these equations start just coming up on the wall. And then they're like, whoa, what if I added this and this and this tweak? And this is very deep mathematic stuff that normal people wouldn't understand. But they built this foundation of being able to understand, level 1 to level 2. It didn't just happen automatically. Now, there's other components too. Some people's genetic condition, the way that their brain is able to just assimilate information super quickly. Some people's innate kind of creativity and just ability to understand like certain subject matter already gives them a leg up over certain people. So there's that to be taken into consideration. Like an Einstein was just coming up with stuff faster than even the really ultra smart peers around him. But then you can pose the argument of, though, how obsessed was he though? He arguably is one of the most obsessed people ever with that particular subject, more than even his peers. So if he already had a little bit of a leg up because of his just kind of natural propensities, and then he immersed himself in his subject with just an unbelievable like ferocity, you get the most superior results. Now, so some people are like, oh, well, I don't really have that. And the great thing about it is that you can cultivate this though.